Hello and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my tips for a flawless base. So making your foundation look basically like a second skin. Just as a bit of an announcement before I go straight into the video, I've decided to go from 3 videos a week to two videos a week. So instead of uploading on a Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday, I will be uploading on a Sunday and a Wednesday. This is just so that I can make sure that I really carry on being consistent, because I want to be able to upload on the same days every week. And it also means that hopefully I'll be able to put a bit more work into those 2 videos instead of spreading myself over 3. So I'm really excited. Hopefully they'll be a bit more interesting, have a bit more about them. So yeah, Sunday and Wednesday, that is when I will be dropping into your subscription boxes on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. There's like a subscribe now button at the bottom, and you just press that and that's literally all you need to do, and then you'll be able to see my face twice a week. So that's sort of the housekeeping done, and let's crack on. I've got 6 tips, I've written them down so I don't miss anything. So yeah, if you want to see my tips to a flawless base, then carry on watching. Okay, so step 1 is the perfect canvas. So this is your actual skin. If you make sure that this is really nicely treated and really hydrated, then you'll find your makeup sits better anyway. So for me, I use a really good moisturiser. I either use my simple, that's the M.A.C, simple kind to skin hydrating light moisturiser, or at the moment I've been using my Be Renewed moisturiser most days, just because my skin has been so dry. So I just put it onto my cheeks, on my forehead and on my chin, and then I just massage that in, and then I let it sit for about 10 minutes before I put on any makeup. The other thing that I do to make sure that my skin is a really nice canvas for the foundation is a primer. So I've got a few examples of primers here. I've actually got 4, and they all actually do different things. So depending on what I want, I use a different one. So if I want my makeup to last a really long time, I use this Rimmel Fix and Perfect Pro. I find that it really does make my makeup last longer, and it says that it smooths, resurfaces, brightens, mattifies and protects. I personally do not think that it brightens my face at all, but I do really think it helped me put my foundation on for a lot longer. So if you're looking for a duration, then maybe give this one a go. I then have 2 for pores and any sort of unevenness on your skin, actually physically on your skin. And I've got the Porefessional, which looks a bit worse for wear, and then I've got Instablur from the Body Shop. Both of these are a great primer if what you're looking for is if you've got loads of pores where your foundation sinks into your pores, and then they really are magnified by your foundation. So maybe give one of these a go, and it's a good idea to focus sort of round here when you're putting these sorts of primers on, and here that's where the pores really open up during the day. The final one, and it's the one that I'm going to be using today, is a colour correcting primer. So the thing that I really suffer from is redness. So my face is red a lot of the time, and that's just because I've got sort of pink undertones and I'm a rosy person, I don't know. But this is the M.A.C Prep and Prime Colour Correcting Cream, and it looks like this, and this just really helps to tone down the redness of my skin before I put anything on. So again, making my canvas as good as possible. I like to make the colour as even as possible across my face. So what I'm going to do is I just take a little bit of this, really not a lot, literally a tiny amount. And then what I like to do, I don't actually focus it on my T-zone, I put it on my cheeks where the redness really does, and on the tip of my nose. So I just take my finger and I just dab it on, sort of almost where I put highlighter, and then I just, because that's where I get red, and then I do it on my nose. And then if I have any left over, put it on my chin and on my forehead. I really like to blend this in with a stippling brush. So this is the stippling brush, it just looks like this, and this really helps just to buff it into the skin quite lightly, and it's nothing too harsh. So this is the Real Technique stippling brush. Okay, so now we've got that canvas sorted for the foundation, it's now time to choose the foundation that you're going to apply onto your face. So there are loads of different choices. I didn't bring all the foundation I own because, I mean, I own a lot of foundation. It took me forever to find ones that I actually really liked, which is why. That is my justification and I'm sticking with it. So it's totally up to you the sort of foundation that you apply, obviously. But if you're looking for that sort of flawless finish, you're going to want to go for one for a medium to full coverage. A full coverage, I personally only wear if I'm going out at night. I don't like wearing a full coverage during the day. A medium coverage is going to really be able to help you build it, buff it into the skin, and for it to look flawless. If you use a light coverage foundation, then your own skin is really going to show through, which is, I think, great on a day-to-day basis. But you're not going to get that sort of flawless finish, you know, like Kim Kardashian finish, with a light coverage foundation. So the foundation I'm going to go for is the 123 Perfect CC Cream from Bourjois. So I've got a few options here of different brushes that you could use to apply your foundation. The first is one that I've already used, and that is a stippling brush. And this would be really useful to buff your foundation into your skin if it's really liquidy. So I use a stippling brush with the L'Oreal Lumi Magic Dream foundation-y thing. What's it called? You know, the one in a little glass bottle. And also the Maybelline Dream Touch foundation. I use this as well because it just really helps to put it nicely onto the skin, and it deals quite well with liquids because it's a little bit firmer and sort of more spread out than, say, a buffing brush. It means that the liquid doesn't get all clogged up in the brush, because this is a problem with this brush, which is the second option, which is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. And it is a very dense buffing brush, and it's really good for buffing a product well into the skin. But the problem is, because it is so dense, as soon as you apply foundation to it, it's going to get clogged up. So I wouldn't recommend this for liquid, like really liquidy foundation. I use this with my L'Oreal True Match and it's perfect, but I wouldn't use it with, say, the Maybelline Dream Touch. The third type of brush is the one that I've been really loving at the moment. I think I've used it in the last few tutorials, and it is a flat top brush just like this. It's got quite a big head, and it's just really simple. You just buff it into the skin. It's fluffier than this one, but it's more dense than this one. So it sort of sits, as you can sort of see, it sort of sits in the middle. It's got the shape of the stippling brush, but more towards the density of the buffing brush. So those are the three types of brush that you could use to apply your foundation. The last is a sponge, and this is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion sponge. I've raved about this. I use this for concealer. You could use this for foundation. I just think it's quite time consuming, and I spend quite a lot of time buffing my foundation anyway, as I will say, so I don't use this for foundation, but it is an option. And really what you have to do is play around and decide what you want to use. It took me forever. I used to use this every single day for every single foundation, but it was only when I started to experiment with different brushes that I realised that actually maybe this isn't the be all and end all for every single foundation. So let's put foundation on. As I said, I'm going to be using the Bourjois Colour Correcting CC Cream. I'm just going to be taking some of that, and for this it's sort of liquidy, I guess, but I'm going to be using, it's not that liquidy, like it's not running down my hand. I'm going to be using the flat topped buffing brush for this, and I'm just going to be dotting that firstly around my face. Okay, so now I've got that on my face. If you take one thing away from this video, I think this next step is the most important, and that is to buff it into your skin. This might seem a bit of a silly thing because obviously you're going to buff it into your skin, but really take the time. So I always skip this in tutorials or fast forward it. I spend up to 2 minutes really buffing the foundation into the skin and also taking it down my neck so you haven't got that harsh line. So if you're looking for that flawless finish and it's not quite happening for you, spend a little bit extra time just buffing it into your skin. It might seem like you're not doing anything, but you really will just be working it in and making it look like a second skin. So I'm just going to be buffing it in, just rotating my brush like this, and I'm just going to be doing that for probably the next 2 minutes. The time on the camera now is 13 minutes 30. So let's see how long it takes me. So the time is 15:38, so I have been buffing that in for pretty much bang on 2 minutes. So although I sped it up and sort of skipped it out, just so you know, I do spend quite a lot of time buffing it in. Okay, so step 4 is concealer. So this is a step that sometimes I skip because I haven't, you know, got any blemishes or anything. But if I'm looking for that flawless finish, this is a step that I'm definitely going to do, even if I can't see any obvious blemishes. So I have a concealer somewhere. So I have 2 different concealers for 2 different reasons. The first is the M.A.C matching concealer to the foundation, the 123 Perfect CC Eye Cream from Bourjois. And as I said, as it says, I'm going to put this underneath my eyes. And then I also have the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, which is just like a creamy concealer like this. And this is quite high coverage. So this one I'm going to put under my eyes. Simple, blend it out, that's it. But for this one, I'm actually just going to go over the places where either I feel like I'm going to get red throughout the day, if I have any blemishes, things like that. So I'm just going to be dotting the Fit Me concealer just on my cheeks, because that's where I go red, and on the top of my nose, and a tiny bit on my forehead, and a tiny bit on my chin. And this just helps the coverage look more even, and throughout the day will help it to last a lot longer. And I'm going to be taking the under eye concealer under my eye, obviously. To blend that in, as always, you have options. The 2 main options, or the 2 options that I use, either is a sponge, the Miracle Complexion sponge again, or a fluffy brush. I'm actually going to use a fluffy brush today because I just fancy it. So just using a fluffy brush, literally just to blend all of that in. Okay, so now we've put our foundation and concealer on. Step 5, yeah that's right, we're on step 5. I feel like I've done many steps, but according to my paper we're on step 5, is to set everything. So I've mentioned before, I like to use 2 powders. You don't have to use 2 powders, it's just me being over the top. But the powder that I always use now to set my under eyes is the Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. It comes in this tiny little pot. And then to set the rest of my face, today I'm going to be using the Stay Matte powder from Rimmel, which is really great. It's one of the best drugstore powders for sure. So I'm just going to be taking the Mercier powder on my Real Technique sponge on the pointy end. I'm just going to be taking a small amount and then just placing it underneath my eye. And then before it goes everywhere, because it's in this stupid loose powder, I put the lid on before doing anything else. And then I'm just going to take the sponge and just really press that in. And then the powder, you've seen me do this before, I'm going to be taking the flat edge, some of the powder, and just pressing it into my skin where I need it. So I'm going to be putting it on my T-zone and on my chin. Finally, step 6, which is sort of like an overall step, is to keep things clean and simple. So I'm going to go off now and do the rest of my makeup, but I'm going to do it really simply. I'm not going to go too crazy, just because if I'm doing a flawless, like I want my foundation to look great, I don't want too much product on my face. You know, I don't want to be doing a really dark dramatic eye necessarily, especially for a daytime look. So I'm just going to be doing a little bit of winged eyeliner, a tiny little bit of contouring, and then a nice colour on my lips. And then that's all I do, particularly if I've spent the time to really buff my foundation into my skin and to make it look as good as I can. And I'm back, and as you can see, I've just done something quite simple. I've just done some winged eyeliner, a tiny little bit of contouring, and some blusher, and then this nice pink colour, which is a new one from Maybelline. It's one of their, it's called like the Rebel Bouquet or something like that. It's like their new line of lipsticks and nail varnish. And this one is Petal Pink. It's just like this really pretty pale pink, which is a bit different for me, but I quite like it. And I think they smell of flowers, I think. But I have a really bad cold, so it could just be my head. But they don't smell like normal Maybelline ones, so they must have a smell. I I really hope that you found this useful and that you've learned a little bit about maybe what you could do or change slightly to make your makeup look even more flawless. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall now see you on Wednesday. Don't forget, now 2 times a week so that I can make them extra good and extra special. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye!